realistically, timeline for the Miami sports teams to win the big championship, not an ACC or a division or anything like that. We know the Panthers, they're there. The timeline could be next year of them winning other championships. That's easy. We'll go quick. Marlins. How far away are the Marlins from winning a championship? You don't have to call NASA up to get the numbers, but you know it's got to be a large number.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say no. Maybe
to win the World Series.
4 years. Give them 4.
You could think in 4 years this team could win.
I think they can win a title before 2030, before the next decade begins.
I think they're about possibly because we have seen teams like Baltimore, the Astros, kind of blow it up, have some really bad seasons, rebuild, get it going right.
Yeah, this year's down the toilet. They got 5 more years.
I'm gonna give them 8 years till they could reasonably.
I'm giving them 5. I think they can win 5 years. 5 years. I'm being optimistic.
I mean, I'm saying you're being great, man.
I am very honestly. I'm not that optimistic.
I'm being optimistic with 8. I think they're a decade away.
I say they half a decade. I'm giving them. They're gonna win a title before the end of the decade.
I'll give them a decade. Okay. And that's about right. And that's demoralizing if they're your team. But maybe Peter Bendix knows what he's doing when he traded Luis Suarez. I don't know. Still haven't seen any 4 of the guys that got traded for Luis Suarez even sniff the roster.
What's that guy? What's the pitcher's name?
Oh, Woo-Suk Go.
Okay.
Dylan Head.
Oh, geez.
We're keeping a keen eye. See, Peter Bendix probably made that trade and was like, nobody's going to pay attention. Oh, no, Peter Bendix. Oh, no, Peter Bendix. We do keep an eye out.
The names are hysterical.
The names that he drafted. Like, were you drafting? Are these real players? Are you you're like a Moneyball drafting the Coke machine and, stuff like that? Oh, my God. Nonetheless. So, okay, now let's get into the ones that everyone's really excited about. Realistically, and I'm not saying everything has to go right, but, stupendously great. How far are the Dolphins away from winning a Super Bowl?
I think the Dolphins maybe.
Most things have to go right. And the reason I'm saying that is for any team, most things have to go right to win a championship.
Especially that type of
reasonably win. Right.
The Dolphins could win the championship. No BS. This upcoming season, they can. If everything works out right. Offensively, they have a championship winning, I think, passing game.
They do.
Defense is a
huge question mark.
Right. But listen, they were a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense last season. Yes, they've made changes. They've lost some players, but who knows? You don't know what the personnel, what the scheme is of Mr. Weavers. And you don't know. You don't know if these rookies can have an immediate impact. So just playing devil's advocate, they can win a title this season, or it could be 5. Who knows? The question will be, do you give number 1 that extension? Because if you know that for the next 5 years, that's going to be your quarterback, then you work around that quarterback. So they're another team. They can win it this year. It could be 5 years.
I'm going to go with 3 years. And once again, we're saying this with everything, not everything, but most things going right, because to win a championship, most things do have to go right. We all know that. So, okay, Miami Hurricanes now. Got to say, Mario Cristobal, this is his 3rd year. He's gotten better last year than the first year. His recruiting has been fantastic for 2025. We know that the ACC is expanding. We know that college football's playoffs are expanding. How far away do you think the Miami Hurricanes are from winning a college football national championship?
2 to 3 years.
Being in contention or being
in contention? I think they make the playoffs this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember, we talked about this yesterday. I don't believe they'll lose more than 2 games, if any. If they split that Louisville, Florida State, I mean, F that. If they beat both Louisville and Florida State, really don't see a loss in that schedule, bro. That Florida game is tough. That's a pick 'em. But if they win that game, I think they get so much momentum off that game. They run off. They got to watch out for that Virginia Tech, California situation. But if they win, they go to Cal and they win at Berkeley. Their 2 toughest games to me is at Louisville and then hosting Florida State in back-to-back weeks.
And just remember, you got Wake Forest and Duke, and then Georgia Tech at the end of the year. You expect them to win against Georgia Tech for the revenge factor, but still.
But I'm saying definitely 9 wins or more and 2 losses or less. And I think they contend for the ACC title, and I think they make the playoffs this year.
Hurricanes, I would say 5 years away.
I
could
don't know
see where
about
they're
5 years
saying
because you're saying 5 years. That's almost you're saying almost to the end of his
8
contract.
years. 8 years. Mario Cristobal in his 8th year, I can hear them saying, Mario Cristobal, it's been a long road, but 8 years in, you've delivered, you've done this. Now it's time for that extension. Hallelujah. Be great. Be wonderful. Miami Heat, that's a good question because they don't have a solid ground to stand on right now. I kind of don't know. Miami Heat, how many years away, if things go for the most part right, they can win another NBA championship? We know Pat Riley's trying to win one.
I'm not even
Eric Spoelstra.
I don't walk the rope. I mean, I don't walk the fence on anything, but I don't really know. Like, I really don't know. Because, yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
The thing that makes NBA so hard is that you can get a transitional or what do you call it? A generational talent that can totally change everything.
Bro, right. But right now, if you look at the league, right? I think the league is is as always is in a great shape right now. It's in great shape. Let's see, you have stars, you've seen you have future superstars, you see who the current stars are, and you still have the old guard. But you know that the old guard's about to leave. Like, let's be real. Like the LeBron, KD, Steph, those days they're winding down. The current stars is like what, the Giannis, the Embiid, those guys, they're about to hit the back. They're about to start looking at the back nine of their careers. You got Ant-Man, you still got Luka,
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander,
you got SGA, but a lot of the stars now are foreign. You know, the best current young American star you have right now is Ant-Man. You know,
Chet Holmgren.
People still have questions about Tatum and Brown, but they're world champions now. But the league is in good hands, right? But now when we're talking about the Heat, what play do you think the Heat can get from any of these, like, you know, current superstars or young upcoming superstars that the Heat can get that you can say that for the next 5 seasons or the 5 years, that person's going to be there and you can focus around that person to give yourself a competitive contending championship team?
Yeah. Sounds bad, but if things go really right and the Heat make the right moves and they have the right culture and they get everything going, I'm
trying to figure it out. Who though? Like, it's who? Are you're centering around Bam when you give him the extension? That's great. Who you gonna put around Bam now? You still got to put another star around him. And it seems like you realize Jimmy's been in the back nine. He's probably on the 15th hole right now.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably on the 15th, about to head to the 16th, part 3 right now.
I'm going to put 5-6 years on it. Sheesh. I know it's tough. It's tough. Championships don't grow on trees. You got to be patient.
But you're also one move away. That's always the thing. You're always one move away. And when you got the Godfather and those guys in Miami and the Heat front office, they're always working on a way to get a whale, an orca, or make a move to keep them contending, keep them competing for a title. But you just don't see it right now because some of the stars that you were thinking about, because of we've heard Kevin Durant with Miami for years. Even though getting Kevin Durant right now with probably this current team would probably help. You're not gonna try to go after Kevin Durant next year in 2025 or 2026. No, you need a young star. You need a young guy that you can build around. That's what the Heat have always done. They've been able to do. If they weren't able to draft a star and develop him, a superstar, like in a D Wade, they were able to get Shaq, Bron, Bosh, Jimmy. Like, you know it. There's a history.
Do you think, looking back, Pat Riley and the Heat brass look at the contracts with Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and go, God, we should have done something vastly different with both those contracts?
Hindsight, bro.
I know, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like,
it's hindsight, man. Hindsight is 2020. You know,
what can you do?
What are you gonna do? Exactly. It's can't really be upset with they rolled with their team. They rolled with their team.
I mean,
and then you know what,
Caleb Martin.
And you know what's the funny part about it is, if you look at Duncan's contract now, it's not that
bad. It's not great.
It's not great neither, but it's not that bad.
Ooh, man, at the time though, it was something, man. But you can only you could only give the contract on what evidence you have in front of you. And at the time, Duncan was lights out three and, doing all this other great stuff. And the sky the limit was for Tyler Hero. And you looked at all that and, oh man, it's one of those things. Bam Adebayo does get an extension. Well, once again, they tried to pay Caleb Martin. They did right, I thought, by Caleb Martin. Gave him what they thought was fair value, which I thought was fair value, which I think Caleb Martin now realizes was fair value. But timing was not right there. Timing was not right there. And last but not least, of our local teams here in South Florida, we already said the Florida Panthers. We really believe that they can win it again next year. We think they're set up for a couple of years to go, man. They've got Lundell, that 6-year contract. They got Reinhardt back on the team. Barkov is locked in. We got Bob coming back. Matthew Tkachuk's here for the rest of his life. He's going to be a staple at the elbow room for the rest of his life here in South Florida. Inter Miami. I think they're built now to win. This is the year. This is the year. Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, who, by the way, Sergio Busquets got red carded last night. Showed a lot of good teammateness and stuff like that. You're getting beat 6-1. You got to go out there and stir some things up. Maybe he just wanted to get out of there. I don't know. Sergio Busquets gets it, though. Tata Martino, I like his coaching style. I like what he's done. I like the way he kind of conducts himself around there. Kermansky, Robert Taylor, Leo Campana, Drake Callender. I think this year they're built to win, and I think this is a team that they can keep it going. So this is the year, I think, to win the MLS Cup. You got Lionel Messi, who may have a hamstring injury. Luis Suarez, who may have a bad knee. But other than that, you're good.
Okay.
Would you be surprised this year if Inter Miami wins the MLS Cup?
No, I wouldn't be surprised. And it'd probably be but is it what they really want? Because they really want international titles. That's why, that's why 10 is here. But it'd be nice to win the title in the league that you play for.
The Supporter Shield would be nice. They 1 point behind Cincinnati now for the Supporter Shield, which is basically just winning the regular season, which a lot of leagues, that's how they determine their champion. Like in the Premier League, it's just whoever's the best at the end of the season gets the championship. There is no tournament to win. You can go take care of that in the Champions League. I always thought, man, that's a cool thing about soccer. Like, you win the regular season, you're the champion. And then if you want to go win some tournament, then you go off and do, all the other cups and all the other things like that. But MLS, they're trying to tailor it more towards the United States, to where we need playoffs, we need ride or die, stuff like that. But yeah, Inter Miami definitely needs to get that MLS Cup this year. That would fill it all out. All the pro teams will have won a championship. And I know Inter Miami's only been around since 2020, so could be the year. Tata Martino, we'll see.